I have made it to the 34-week mark of my pregnancy, and that means that I have about 6 weeks, give or take, left to go. Insane! I am so ready to just hold my little baby in my arms. And I'm so ready to be done being pregnant. You know, for the most part, I really can't complain about this pregnancy. Everything has really gone pretty smooth for the most part. My symptoms have been manageable. They haven't been anything that's kept me in bed or like very restricted. I'm very thankful for that. But I'm just feeling those aches and pains and the exhaustion of being very close to done with pregnancy, and I'm just kind of ready to move on with being a mom and all of the new exciting and challenging and scary things that that is going to bring. So with that being said, I am going to jump in and start talking about symptoms and updates and things that have been going on during the past 2 weeks. So weeks 32 and 33 of my pregnancy, leading up to where I am now, which is 34 weeks and 2 days pregnant. So let's jump in. Baby boy is so active during the day. There are so many times at work where I really can't even concentrate because of the crazy movements that he's doing, and some of them can be rather uncomfortable. Thankfully though, at night, he really isn't doing crazy like movements and kicks and punches and all that stuff. He tends to be rather calm at night. Even when I get up to go to the bathroom, like he doesn't really move too much. And then like, it's not like his movements keep me up at night yet. Which I don't mind. I mean, maybe that's a positive sign of things to come. Maybe he'll love to sleep through the night right away and I won't be sleep deprived. Probably unlikely, but you know, one can hope for sure. Other than that, I mean, I know he's growing because I'm growing a lot. I haven't been able to see like any like definitive body parts like popping out. Like I see what I assume is like an elbow or a knee kind of like roll across my stomach sometimes, but I haven't seen like a handprint or a footprint or anything like crazy cool like that. I would love to see that, but maybe he's just not in a position where that can happen. But I've seen pictures and that is just the coolest thing, to be able to see like, oh my gosh, this is actually how big his hand is or his foot is or something like that. So I'm really hoping that I might be able to catch that at some point. As far as my symptoms go, I guess for the most part things are just kind of continuing, being amplified a little bit. Like my back pain, if I do too much, my hip pain just lingers on, especially at night when I've been in one position for a long time. And now I'm getting to a point where when I have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, like I'm in a lot of pain just getting out of bed and taking those first couple steps. My hips hurt and I'm almost like wincing in pain. That's just not fun at all, and I'm trying to be mindful of how I'm propping myself up with pillows and making sure like not too much weight is on a certain part of my hip or whatever, but it's just so hard. So that's probably the biggest complaint that I have. Other symptoms, I unfortunately am starting to get some stretch marks on my stomach, and a little bit like on my, I guess between like my hip and my stomach, like kind of in that crease where my belly kind of meets my hip. I don't know. I'm not too brokenhearted about it because I've honestly been bracing myself for this for pretty much the whole pregnancy. I've had stretch marks before. I know they're genetic. My mom had a lot when she had my brother and I. I'm just very thankful that they are just starting to really show up now and that they didn't start showing up at like the halfway point. So that makes me feel a little bit better. I know there's still some time to go, and the chances that they will continue to appear is pretty great. But you know, I know that after things kind of shrink back down and I can start, you know, getting my body back to normal, they'll fade and they really won't be that noticeable. And I know in the bottom of my heart, as hard as it is to just kind of brush it off and be like, oh, it's fine, whatever, like it's just looks, whatever. That's hard, but I know, I truly know that it's worth it. It is a small price to pay to hold the little one in my arms, and I know that it probably won't even matter to me. Right now, it probably seems like a huge deal, but once he's here and I can see him and life goes on, I'm sure I will just like laugh at myself for how much I care about it right now. But it is what it is. I'm still gonna keep putting on lotions and like the Palmer's oil stuff that they have been using. So just to do what I can to keep that skin moisturized, and you know, just there's no point in just letting myself totally go, being like, oh, I got stretch marks, so screw it, I'm just gonna stop. I don't want to do that because you know, hopefully it's paying off in some way, but at the same time, you know, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. There's no point. There are so many more important things in life, and I'm just giving myself a pep talk at this point, so I am going to move on. I've been noticing lately that I am definitely starting to carry him a lot lower. Like I kind of have like creases like where my, like below my boobs, like, and above where the bump is. I can kind of see my ribs again, which is interesting. So not only does it look like I'm carrying him a little bit lower, but I can feel it for sure. I try to go for walks during lunch, and I try to go to the bathroom like before I leave, and a lot of times I'll be out there for like 5 minutes and all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta pee so bad. Of course I can't find a bathroom while I'm out walking, and within like another 5 minutes or so, like the feeling passes. But I just know there's just so much more pressure down there, which I'm hoping is a good sign. You know, he's getting himself in position and ready to go and all of that, but the trade-off is that it's rather uncomfortable, and I think that's also contributing to the hip pain that I have, the lower back pain that I have, and all that crazy stuff. But that being said, probably when I show my bump shot at the end of this, you can see that he is definitely lower. It wasn't like, I kind of expected like when baby drops, like all of a sudden you'd wake up one day and it'd be like, oh my gosh, my belly is so much lower. I feel like it's definitely like this gradual thing, and it's just every couple of days I notice like, huh, that's definitely a little bit lower than it was. Interesting. So just a little tidbit that I noticed. With all of this hip and back pain, stuff like that, I've been trying to sit on my ball more often just to try to stretch out my hips and kind of like give my tailbone a break and make sure that's having some room to like stretch out a little bit because of all that extra pressure down there. And one of the things at the hospital class that my husband and I went to a couple weeks ago now was she was talking about as many times a day as possible, just make an effort to sit forward, just to give your belly more room and to kind of like make that belly space as big as possible. Cathedral ceilings, I think is what she called it. But whether you're, you know, leaning over the ball and letting your belly kind of drop, or leaning over a chair or a counter or something like that, that's a good way to give baby more room to get into a good position. And then it also is good for your back. And if you can open up your hips and your pelvis a little bit more and let your tailbone kind of curve back instead of forward, you're only bettering yourself for the position that is optimal for labor. So not only does that feel good to stretch out like that, but I'm hoping that it will pay off when it comes time to give birth. I have two more just random symptoms to touch on. One is that the skin around my belly button especially is super sensitive. I think that's just because it's normally kind of more in my belly, so it's not as exposed, but it's super exposed right now and stretched. And so sometimes when my husband goes and like puts his hand on my stomach to feel the baby, I like slap him away like an instinct, because I'm like, that's like super sensitive. Like he's barely even touching me, but it's like, I don't know, it just feels weird. And then the other symptom is swelling. So I'd say I really don't have much swelling. I would say it's very mild. My hands definitely do get swollen or puffier during the day, especially if I'm like moving around a lot or after I go for a walk or doing chores or something like that. They do get puffier, but right now I've been sitting down for a while, and it's a little bit cooler out today. It's not really humid. I could probably slide my rings off right now. But even on the days where my hands are swollen, after I take a shower, I'm able to slide them right off because my hand's wet and whatever. So that's good. Hopefully that doesn't get too much worse. I think that my legs are starting to swell a little bit. Could be weight gain, but I just feel like my legs feel a lot heavier. And I don't know if that's because, again, with the more pressure and him sitting lower and all of that stuff, but my feet and my ankles aren't really swollen yet. I mean, sometimes when I go for a walk and I come back, they'll be a little puffy, but I try to just put my feet up when I can. And I've been really trying to take it easy. As much as I want to be up and around and doing all that I can and making the most of this time, there's no way my body's gonna let me do that anymore. I'm at a point where, like, if I'm doing too much, my body is going to tell me very quickly. Usually in the form of back pain and hip pain. So obviously there's a trend here. Now let's move on and talk about a couple other things that have been going on the past couple weeks. So I had my baby shower and got a lot of good loot for the babes, and I'm just anxiously like putting stuff away and prepping the nursery. I did a lot today, earlier this morning, and I've been doing a lot of laundry and like we've been getting more random things from coworkers, and I did this like massive Amazon order, like total overhaul of like the stuff that we didn't get at the shower. So honestly, at this point, I feel like he could come any day and we would be totally ready for him, which that's a new feeling. Most of this time, I've just been so anxious for the shower and to get stuff that I'm just like, there's no way he could come. Like he wouldn't have anything. He would have clothes and that's about it. But now this kid has like everything and anything he would need. We decided on the stroller and car seat travel system thing. Finally, we actually bought the City Mini GT travel system 2 weeks ago, and we were really on the fence about it because, one, it's a major investment. Two, we're just trying to be realistic for how much we're actually going to use the stroller and all that stuff. So we ended up returning it, and we ended up getting the Graco 3 Lite XT, I think is what it's called. So it's a little bit cheaper, but it's a much more versatile stroller car seat combo thing. And the stroller seat can actually lean back and kind of turn into a bassinet. So that was a major selling point because baby's gonna be born in the summer. So when we go for walks, I don't want her to be crammed in a little car seat or anything like that when it's warmer outside, and it's just better for him if he can lay flat in a bassinet type thing, without having to purchase like a super high-end stroller that we might not even use. I mean, this is our first kid. We don't know realistically how often we're going to be using the stroller. I mean, we're definitely going to use it when we go for walks around our house, but like going out to the store right now, not right now, when he's first born, we'll just have him in the carrier. We can put that in the cart. I could wear him. Like, there's just so many options. I felt kind of guilty spending top dollar on something that I wasn't even sure we were gonna get enough use out of. So the purchase that we ended up making, I feel pretty good about it. I'm really excited. It's still in the back of my car, and I'm like waiting for my husband to get home so that we can set it all up and just prep another thing, because this is just, it's just getting so real seeing all the stuff, and I'm just so excited. So obviously the nesting thing is really kicking in, and so aside from working on his nursery, I've been prepping to pack the hospital bags. I have been kind of getting some little bins set up, like one for the breast pump and one for like our room, and like a diaper caddy to have downstairs. And so I'm just trying to prep like all of these little things, in addition to really kind of getting the house in order too. We had a couple busy weekends, and so a lot of like our house chores kind of like got pushed aside, which is totally fine. But now I'm like, okay, I just want everything to be like as clean as possible. Like I just want to be ready. I want to feel ready. I want every little corner of this house to feel ready, and I know that's not going to happen in a day. I tried to do a lot today, and my back is killing me, and as much as I want to do more after, like later on today, I probably should just hold off and wait until tomorrow. As rough as that is, I just want everything to be in order. Not to mention it's really fun too, because it's just so exciting to be preparing for this little life that's about to move into our house. Like, it's just so surreal. Another thing that happened this past week is I had another class at the hospital. My husband had work, so I ended up going by myself, but the class was basically just an informative, like kind of open discussion type thing about what life is like when baby first comes home. And I think it was called Reality Check Life with Baby. And it was just a good opportunity. There were like 2 nurses there, and then another person who works at the hospital, and then there were 2 couples that were in the room with me at the time. So it was a really small group, and just a lot of good information, just random little tips, and kind of just addressing how not only physically I'll be feeling, but also like the emotions that both mom and dad go through during that transition, and what it's like to hear the baby cry and not know what to do. And it's just some interesting ways to just cope with that, and then also just some interesting tidbits that are just good reminders, like, you know, keeping in mind who's going to be doing what chores, and you know, once that 6-week window passes and you get the clear to get it back on with your husband, like the emotions that either side is probably feeling at that time, and just keeping that in mind. And so there was just a lot of good information, nothing that was like totally surprising, but just good to hear, just good little things to hear from a professional, and just to help get in a good mindset for that transition period, because I know it's going to be a whirlwind of just feeling tired, recovering from a major medical thing, like figuring out how to be a parent. Like, there's just so much is about to change all at once. And so it was really good to be in a space where you could just kind of talk openly about random little things that some of them didn't even occur to me, like that we'd be thinking or feeling at that time. So that was good, definitely worthwhile. I have another class coming up this coming week, and that one is actually on breastfeeding. So it'll be, I assume, the same type of situation where there will be a couple people from the hospital staff, and then like a small group and open discussion type thing. And I'm really looking forward to that one, because breastfeeding is still something that I am just really passionate about. I'm definitely going to give it my all. You know, I know that it won't be easy, and I know that there will come a point where I might have to make a tough decision, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I want to prepare as much as I can up front to just boost my chances that it'll be successful and that I'll be able to do it for a while. So aside from all of the baby stuff that we have going on in our life, there's a lot happening in my husband and my world right now aside from baby. My husband is going through some big career changes. I'm debating about what's next for my career and my life once the baby's here, and there's just so many things to figure out. And this is being coupled with all of these emotions that I'm feeling because next month in June, my husband and I are celebrating 8 years together and then our 3-year wedding anniversary. So there's just so many emotions as we plan for what's next and embrace these new opportunities, but then also reflect on all of these memories that we've had together before baby was even thought of. You know, it's just so many things that are happening all at once. It's hard not to get emotional, but I am letting myself have a moment when I need, cry if I need to for a little bit, just to like let myself feel the feelings that I need to feel, because this is a big life moment, or not even moment, big life thing that's happening as all of these moving pieces are kind of coming together and we're about to start this whole new chapter. So it's hard not to get sentimental, and it's hard not to miss how things used to be, all while I'm still so excited for all that's to come. It's just this weird point where I feel like I'm kind of caught in the middle between, you know, thinking and missing the life that we used to have together when we were first dating and first married and everything was fun and new and exciting, and now here we are with all of these new responsibilities and a house and jobs and all of this stuff. It's just crazy to just take a step back and see how far we've come together over the past 8 years. It's just really crazy. And so we're trying to just soak up the time that we have, just the two of us. So actually earlier this week, we both took off a day from work and we went up to Maine for the day, went out to lunch, walked around a little bit, got ice cream, did some exploring, and just enjoyed some quality time together. And that was just such a good day. Like, it made my heart just feel so full because I love my husband so much, and I know that our relationship needs to be strong in order for our family to be built on a good foundation. And so I never want to lose sight of just our love and our just this life that we've made together, and all that we've done individually but together with each other's support. And it's just so crazy. So a lot of emotions are going on, and you know, I just cannot wait to watch him be a dad, and I cannot wait to have him watch me be a mom, because as kind of weird as that sounds to say out loud, you know, there's so many things that we've done together and so many challenges that we've overcome, and I just feel like we are in the best spot that we could be to welcome a child into this world. And I know there are going to be plenty of challenges, and it's not going to be easy. It's definitely going to put stress on our relationship, but I'm just really trying to soak up the memories and soak up this time now, and just hopefully just be able to take that all in and remember that as we move into this next phase of life, because now it's going to be different for sure, but it'll be good. So that's about all I have to say for this update. So I am going to show my bump and then close this out.